at exactly 1,000 meters below the ocean surface, the last photon of sunlight dies. Not dims, not fades, dies. The final quantum of solar energy, absorbed by the weight of a kilometer of water above, ceases to exist. From this point downward, no sunlight has ever reached. No sunlight ever will. This is not a metaphor. This is a physical boundary, a line drawn by the laws of physics themselves. Above it, the world, as life has always known it. Below it, 3 underworlds, each one deeper, each one colder, each one more alien than the last, and each one teeming with life that science is only now beginning to understand. This is the descent. The midnight zone, 1,000 to 4,000 meters below the surface, temperature hovers permanently near 4 degrees Celsius. Pressure builds to 400 atmospheres, the equivalent of 400 times the weight of Earth's entire atmosphere, pressing inward from every direction simultaneously. There is no current, no seasonal change, no day or night, only the permanent, total, absolute dark. And yet, in this dark, something evolved an answer to a problem that does not exist in the world above. How to survive? In a place where food arrives once every 3 weeks. The gulper eel does not hunt. Hunting requires energy. Energy requires food. Food arrives perhaps once every 3 weeks. Instead, the gulper eel solved the problem differently. Its jaw is not attached to its skull in the way jaws normally attach. It is hinged, loosely, to an expandable framework of cartilage. When triggered, the jaw opens to encompass a volume larger than the eel's entire body, a biological vacuum. Whatever the darkness delivers is taken. The stomach expands to store it. Then the creature returns to stillness, waiting again, in the dark, in the cold, for the next delivery. In the midnight zone, light is not safety. Light is a weapon. Over 90% of creatures in this zone produce bioluminescence, but bioluminescence here is not used for navigation. It is used for deception. The female anglerfish carries a modified dorsal fin ray, extended in front of its head like a fishing rod, tipped with a glowing lure called the esca. Inside the esca lives a single species of bioluminescent bacteria, a symbiotic relationship between a vertebrate and a microbe. Built over millions of years of coevolution, the bacteria glow, the anglerfish does not move. In a world where food is scarce and light is irresistible, smaller creatures approach the glow. The jaw closes at a speed too fast to register. Backward-pointing teeth ensure nothing escapes inward. The anglerfish has not moved. It has simply waited for the dark to deliver what the light promised. In the midnight zone, almost all bioluminescence is blue or green. These are the wavelengths that penetrate water most efficiently. Evolution has tuned the eyes of almost every creature in this zone. To detect blue and green light, the dragonfish solved the problem differently. Red light, in this world, is effectively invisible to most species. The dragonfish produces red bioluminescence from an organ beneath its eye. It illuminates its prey in a color its prey cannot perceive. It hunts in a spectrum that belongs only to it. Science did not know a deep-sea fish was capable of producing red bioluminescence until 1998. The midnight zone had been keeping the secret for millions of years before anyone thought to look. Below 4,000 meters, the open water ends, the seafloor begins. This is the Abyssal Plain, the flattest, most featureless landscape on Earth, stretching across more than half of the planet's surface, an endless plain of fine sediment, accumulated over millions of years, of the dead world above slowly raining downward. Scientists call it marine snow. The compressed, degraded remains of organisms from the sunlit world above, drifting down over weeks and months, to settle on a floor that has not seen light since the continents were in different positions. The temperature here is between 1 and 3 degrees Celsius. It has not changed significantly in millions of years. Pressure at 6,000 meters reaches 600 atmospheres. At this depth, calcium carbonate, the compound used to build bones and shells, dissolves. The armor that evolution spent hundreds of millions of years perfecting simply ceases to exist at this depth. The creatures of the abyssal plain do not have hard shells. They have soft bodies, gelatinous, translucent, yielding to the pressure rather than resisting it. In this wasteland, nothing is wasted. When a whale dies at the surface, its body, 50 tons or more of organic matter, begins to sink. It descends for weeks, passing through the twilight zone, through the midnight zone, until it reaches the abyssal plain. And when it arrives, it does not simply decompose, it becomes an ecosystem. Scientists call it a whale fall. A single whale carcass provides the caloric equivalent of 2,000 years of marine snow, concentrated in a single location, in a world where food arrives grain by grain. Within hours, sleeper sharks and hagfish strip the soft tissue. Within weeks, crustaceans, isopods, and polychaete worms consume the remaining matter. And then, when the bones are exposed, the final stage begins. These are Osedax, known in scientific circles as zombie worms. They have no eyes, no mouth, no stomach, no digestive tract of any kind. Instead, they extend root-like structures into the whale bone and secrete acid from their skin, dissolving the calcium matrix and extracting the lipids trapped inside. The bone itself becomes their food source, and they consume it from the inside out, until after decades, the last calcium of a 50-ton whale has been converted to sediment. The whale fall is complete. The ecosystem it supported disperses. The abyssal plain returns to silence. In December 2025, researchers from the University of Victoria published findings that alarmed the deep-sea science community. In an experiment where humpback whale bones were placed on the seafloor, the zombie worms failed to appear. After 9.2 years, scientists believe expanding oxygen minimum zones, driven by climate change, are preventing Osedax from colonizing whale falls in certain regions. The ecosystem engineers of the abyssal plain are disappearing from a world that most humans do not know exists. Below 6,000 meters, the flat Earth ends. It tears. These are the deep ocean trenches, named, fittingly, after Hades. The ancient Greek underworld, the Hadal zone. The Mariana Trench, the deepest, plunges to 10,935 meters, nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. If Mount Everest were placed at the bottom, its summit would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. Pressure here reaches 1,100 atmospheres. Temperature drops to between 1 and 2 degrees Celsius. No sunlight, no marine snow. The particles dissolve long before reaching this depth. No whale falls. The organic matter is consumed before it arrives. In the Hadal zone, the food supply that sustains everything above has been consumed, dissolved, or destroyed. And yet, something is down here. Deep-sea fish survive pressure through a molecule called TMAO, trimethylamine oxide. It stabilizes proteins inside cells, preventing them from folding and collapsing under hydrostatic pressure. As depth increases, TMAO concentration must increase proportionally. But TMAO has a limit. At approximately 8,200 meters, the concentration of TMAO required to counteract the pressure reaches the same osmotic level as the surrounding seawater. Adding more TMAO to go deeper would require a complete physiological reorganization that no vertebrate has achieved. At 8,200 meters, the chemistry of vertebrate life reaches its wall. This is a physical law, not a biological limitation, a law. And then, in 2023, in the Izu Ogasawara Trench off the coast of Japan, a camera captured something at 8,336 meters, a snailfish, unknown species, juvenile. 8,336 meters below the surface, the deepest vertebrate ever recorded on Earth. 136 meters deeper than the theoretical biochemical limit. Its body, largely cartilaginous, no rigid bones to crush, no swim bladder, which would implode under pressure, gaps in its skull, allowing the cranium to flex rather than shatter. It can withstand pressure equivalent to the weight of 1,600 elephants. It was filmed for only seconds before it descended beyond the camera's reach. It has not been filmed since. Its species has not yet been formally named. And at the bottom of the Hadal Zone, between 10,000 and 11,000 meters, where even the snailfish cannot go, something else lives. Not fish, not vertebrates, amphipods. Tiny, shrimp-like crustaceans found in extraordinary abundance at the very deepest points on Earth. Feeding on what little organic matter has survived the long journey down. At Challenger Deep, the deepest surveyed point on the planet at 10,935 meters, they are the dominant life form. In the deepest place on Earth, life has not given up. Life has simply specialized. Humanity has landed spacecraft on Mars, has imaged black holes 55 million light-years away, has mapped the surface of the moon in higher resolution than most cities map their own streets. The James Webb Space Telescope can detect the atmospheric composition of planets orbiting stars 1,000 light-years distant. And yet, at the bottom of the Hadal Zone, a species of fish was filmed for the first time in 2023. That science has still not formally named. At 8,336 meters below the ocean surface, on the same planet where humans built the Large Hadron Collider, an unknown creature passed in front of a camera and descended back into the dark. Unnamed, uncatalogued, still down there. 3 underworlds, each one named, each one studied, none of them fully understood. The Midnight Zone holds creatures that use invisible light as weapons, in a world where no light reaches. The Abyssal Plain sustains entire ecosystems on the falling remains of the world above. The Hadal Zone breaks the laws of vertebrate biology and then produces a creature that was not supposed to exist at a depth it was not supposed to reach. The ocean covers 71% of this planet. The 3 zones documented in this case file represent the majority of Earth's total living space. They are older than the dinosaurs, older than the first land plant, older than the first insect wing. They were dark and cold and alive long before anything walked on land, and they remain almost entirely unknown. The descent is over. The file is incomplete. It will always be incomplete because the dark does not give up its contents to those who only look from above.